people, welcome back. I'm Anna and today we're doing another movie review. For that I brought my sister, which you guys may remember from Who Knows Me Better, my boyfriend or my sister video, back on our channel Anna and Brock, which I'm gonna link up here so you guys can check that one out. This one's our second movie review, the first one being the Spider-Man movie review I did like a couple weeks ago, which I'm gonna link down below as well. And basically the only credentials we have to bring her here is that she's a huge fan of the movie we're doing today, which is...
It's the new How to Train Your Dragon movie, The Hidden World.
Alright. As you guys know, we usually follow 4 categories when it comes to reviews, and it's overall story, entertainment, writing, how well written it is, and is it worth it? Will we recommend it? I'm gonna let her tackle this one. What did you think of the overall story of How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World?
Well, I think what people need to go into this movie thinking about is that this is not a single movie or an individual movie that you go see by itself. It's a movie that is done and meant to be a conclusion to the entire series and the entire world of the Dragons of Berk. So when you go with that in mind, you will see that the movie is actually a very, very good conclusion, and the overall story fits very well as a conclusion to the rest of the plot that we've seen so far.
We did see this on an early screening, and we had seen the movies before, the 1 and 2, so our take on it was a little premature to any other reviews you're gonna see from now on. So we definitely were trying to give this as spoiler free as possible, because we do know it's showing in theaters right now, and if you're seeing this before you see it, you don't want to spoil for you, so we're gonna be very careful with that. I want to tackle this one because I talked about this one on my Spider-Man video, and basically I'm very picky when it comes to like the entertainment portion of a movie. I really appreciate the ratio of humor to actual action happening in the movie, and I think this movie did a great job of keeping that balance. It wasn't, at no point did it feel like they were just overusing the humor part of the script. I don't know if that was the case for you.
I think from the point of view of somebody who has seen the other movies, this movie was like a bit of a pitfall, because it has a big question mark at the end that a lot of people that go into this movie are going to go with the big question mark that what's going to happen at the end, because there's a lot of buzz about it. And I think it was a very good temptation for the writers to make it like huge subfest, where like, no, let's make this movie as deep and as touching as possible. Let's aim for the Oscars and let's aim for the, the high ground. But no, I think they took care to make it as entertaining as possible and as funny as possible without undermining the actual depth of the movie. And I am very grateful for that, because, the core of the series it's fun. So I am very grateful that they kept that balance.
I would say I really appreciate that they made it like attractive to all ages, because even though it's supposed to be a kids movie, I don't think many kids would have understood this movie.
No, I don't think it's a kids movie anymore, because if you went to the first movie for when you were a kid, let's say the first movie came out around 15 years ago, I believe. If you went to the first movie when you were a kid and you liked it and you've been following the series,
you are now a grown-ass person
at
the movie theater.
Which, it's been 3 movies, it's been almost 8 seasons of TV series. You have invested a lot of time into it, and you are no longer a kid. So I think they took very good care of
growing with their audience,
doing a movie that could appeal, of course, to the younger audience that are going to see it anew right now, but also to the people that grew with the franchise. So that was very, very nice of them.
We were definitely very taken aback by the evolution throughout the movie, like the way they treated the action, because like she was saying, there's a big question mark from the beginning of the movie. You're already worried and anxious about what's going to happen at the end, because
especially because the trailers have been very forthcoming about that particular major plot point of the movie, which we won't uncover. But
I like that they did not stall. Every scene felt like it had a purpose in the movie. There were no scenes that you were just like, okay, this is just filler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand because in a movie like this, which is the conclusion to a franchise, I think they go into it with a specific objective in mind, and every scene moves that objective forward in order to reach it.
What did you think like the visuals were in this one?
Well, I think the visuals are very interesting because one of the things that How to Train Your Dragon franchise has been famous for is that with each new movie they introduce even more of like visual effects and visual effects advancements in the field and in the science.
I like to do a side-by-side take of the first one versus this one.
And you know, like one of the things that I found really interesting is because before we went to the movie, I was watching this documentary with Dean DeBlois, who is the director of this franchise, and he was talking about how in the first movie they used to work really hard to have like less than 10 dragons at the same time in one take, and then in this particular movie they have a scene that has 10,000 dragons in one take. So you can definitely see how
they've grown as a
how they've grown up as a studio into it.
Yeah, if you're seeing this in theaters, you are in for a treat. Like it's a beautiful, beautifully stunning.
I would definitely recommend like to go see it, especially on 3D.
Yeah.
Because you know, like this is the kind of movie that you go to the theater to see because it has like the effects and it has like the music and it's the full package that you need to experience through the experience of theater, of the cinema.
I think in this movie, and if you disagree, please let me know. Like I feel like this movie had a lot of potential to just doing the wrong thing at the end and keep milking the cow for like 10 more movies. But they, in my opinion, I think at least I think they did what was right. They put on their big boy pants and finally we reached a conclusion with this movie that it's what you've been waiting for the last 3 movies.
You know, I mean, like I agree with you and I don't, because in my opinion, writing wise, this movie is the weakest of the entire franchise. Yes, I mean, like when you think about it, like from the point of view of only writing, not actually a fan of the franchise. Movie number 1 was perfect. I mean, like it was like
every movie number 1 is perfect.
Sure, it was the one that started it all, and it tackled a very, very moving story. And then movie number 2 was a little bit darker and a little bit more adult, a little bit more grown up, but it had a lesser impact.
Yeah.
I think this particular movie, impact-wise and story-wise, is the weakest one because, you know, like the villain is not as well developed as it was on the first and second movies. And, you know, like the overall flow of the story, sometimes even though it flows well, the little points of the characters themselves sometimes it seems a little bit incongruent. But I believe that even though they could have worked a lot to make this particular movie a much better movie, I think the fact that it's not as good as the first one or the second one story-wise works. Because it's supposed to be...
It doesn't have to be.
That's right.
Because the characters are already developed. You already know these characters, so they don't really need as much growth as they would have needed in movie 1.
That is exactly my point. You know what I mean? Like, this is not meant to be a standalone movie. This movie is not supposed to stand by itself. You're not supposed to go see it and say, okay, as a single movie, it's not that good. You're not supposed to do that.
If you had never seen How to Train Your Dragon 1 or 2, and
you would definitely think this is a good movie. You know, but it's not supposed to be like a single movie that you go see as itself. You are supposed to go see the franchise, and you're supposed to understand the entire franchise and the entire scope. And then when you do that, you realize that this movie, even though it's comparatively weaker than its predecessors, is definitely the right choice and the right move for the series. Because as I said before, you know, this series is scored on on fun and on freedom and on, you know, like reaching for the dreams that you normally wouldn't be able to do. And I think they took a big risk on trying to make this movie palatable and not so much a movie by itself, but as a conclusion for the franchise. And I'm very grateful to the filmmakers for that.
I want to know how you felt about the ending.
I actually, the ending was the kind of thing that I was expecting to, that I wanted to happen but didn't expect that it was going to. It's because, you know, like as I said before, temptation to make this movie a subfest and
Yeah.
like a really moving movie that, you know, people left the theater crying and talked about for years. It was very big. But yeah, and even though you
I
go
cried.
and you cry,
I did cry.
I'm not saying that you don't cry. You definitely cry. Don't get me wrong. It's really, really nice and really touching. But I like the fact that they say, okay, we understand that this
That it's
movie,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
we understand that what this movie represents. We understand that this is the end of an era, but we don't want to make people cry about it. We want people to see this movie and to understand
cherish it
that
for what it is.
yes, to understand that it's over, but it's not sad. It's not a sad thing that it's over. People should see it, should enjoy it, and should leave the theater experiencing the fact that this was good. I am glad that I saw this movie. I am glad that I've been following this franchise, you know. So, you know, the ending is bittersweet because...
Would you recommend it?
Okay, so I would definitely recommend it to two different kinds of people. Number one is the people with children. Say category number two is for the people who have been following the franchise. I don't think that there is a person who has been following the franchise and who has been through the movies, through the short movies, through the TV series, who is not going to be satisfied with how this movie ended. And you know, I am glad that they didn't disrespect the franchise just in order to make money. Although I am very hopeful that, you know, maybe a series will come out or another season of the series will come out.
Like a mini-series.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, like...
that explores this angle of the story.
Sure,
okay.
The ending will have a great potential for expansion, but, you know, like, I say it's definitely worth watching. And if you are going to go watch one movie this month of February, I would say go watch The Hidden World. Because, you know, it is the movie of the month, so...
I always like to do at the end of my reviews like a little rapid fire, like category by category, like just a quick summary of what you think. Overall story, how do you feel? Is it a yes or a no?
Definitely a yes.
Rate entertainment out of 10.
Definitely a 10 for entertainment. It was so incredibly funny.
It was very funny. Rate writing out of 10.
Writing out of 10, I would say an 8.
Worth it. 10 out of 10?
Definitely 10 out of 10 for the worth it.
I'm gonna rate it myself now. Overall story, I would say 9 out of 10. Entertainment, I would probably say it's a 9 out of 10 as well. I shed one single tear at the end, and I'm proud of that. I did not cry more. Writing for me was fine. I would say like probably 9 out of 10. And is it worth watching? Totally 10 out of 10. I would totally recommend it. It has beautiful visuals. Keep the ratio of humor to action very, very balanced. You never feel like they're overusing either or too much. And I would say that it was everything I wanted from the movie. It definitely fulfilled what I went in wanting from the movie.
Considering that I had such high expectations,
we had very high expectations.
They did good.
So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this review, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being on my channel.
Thank you for having me here.
On my personal channel for the first time, because you were on the one with Brock. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this movie. Let us know what you thought of the movie if you've already watched it down below. Subscribe, like this video. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.